the somewhat unofficial start of the European Club Cup campaign. Now, yes, qualifying has been going on for about a month or so now in UEFA's three major cup competitions, the Champions League, Europa League, and Conference League. But tonight feels like the real annual curtain raiser. Salzburg, Austria is this year's backdrop for the 2020 UEFA Super Cup, the annual battle that pits the Champions League winners from the previous year against the Europa League winners. And it's France versus England once again. Paris Saint-Germain, the Champions League winners for a second successive year. Last year they beat Tottenham. This year they take on the Europa League winners, Unai Emery's Aston Villa, who is no stranger to this Super Cup. It's the Parisians and the villains. We've got all the action from Salzburg as the UEFA Super Cup is about to commence. Hello again, everybody. I'm Seth Eaves. Thank you so much for being with us. We even saved you the best seat in the house. PSG and Aston Villa, the UEFA Super Cup. Of course, if you are, again, this is one of those things where we start with some education to a degree. If you are choosing to pick up on the momentum from the World Cup and you're choosing to follow our coverage of the beautiful game, the UEFA Super Cup, maybe not a competition you are 100% familiar with. So just in case, here it is. Basically just described it. It is the winners of the UEFA Champions League and the UEFA Europa League from the previous seasons. Therefore, you get PSG and Aston Villa. PSG are playing in this Super Cup for the third time, having lost it in 1996 and won it a year ago. Aston Villa is playing for the second time. They won it back in 1982. This is the first time that the UEFA Super Cup has been held in a lot of different countries. Somewhat surprisingly, you'd have to say, for a country that co-hosted a European Championship some near 20 years ago. It's the first time that this showpiece occasion has been played in the country of Austria. And it's the first time the city of Salzburg has played host to any major European final. If you consider this a major European club final, it's the seventh time that Austria has hosted it. All seven have been held at the Ernst-Happel Stadion in Vienna. 4 Champions League finals in 1964, 1987, 1990, and 1995. It also hosted the 1970 Cup Winners' Cup and the now Europa League, then UEFA Cup, when it was a two-legged final. It hosted the first leg in 1994. The RB Arena in Salzburg, as we're going to call it, the Stadion Salzburg, is the home of RB Salzburg, 30,071 the capacity, a venue that opened in 2003 and hosted 3 group stage matches at the 2008 European Championship. Of course, there is a human interest angle that some will like or maybe get perturbed about, or maybe a little bit of both. This, of course, might be known as a redemption game, if you will. You may remember Omar Artan, the Somalian referee who was denied entry to the United States to officiate at the World Cup. Well, after all the talk, this is the compensation package, I guess, what he got, and he will be the first ever non-European to officiate the UEFA Super Cup. So let's take a look back at how each team made the UEFA Super Cup. PSG won everything but their French Cup last season. In the Champions League, how each team won their respective competitions. PSG in the Champions League, they finished 11th in the league phase, winning 4 of their 8 matches, beating Atalanta, Barcelona, Bayer Leverkusen, and Tottenham. They lost to Bayern Munich and Sporting Lisbon, drew with Athletic Bilbao and Newcastle. In the knockout phase playoffs, they held off fellow French club Monaco 5-4 in aggregate, then comprehensively swept aside Chelsea 8-2 on aggregate in the round of 16. Another English side was vanquished in the quarterfinals. 2-0 wins saw the Parisians pass Liverpool, and then in a thrill-a-minute semifinal, they held off Bayern Munich. They won the first leg 5-4. A 1-1 draw in the second leg was enough, and then just about nearly 3 months, a little more than 2.5 months ago, it was in Budapest, PSG won the Champions League on penalties, defeating Arsenal. PSG, of course, a great year. They also ran away with the French league yet again. They won by 6 points over Lyon in that table. wasn't as easy. They did fall to second at times early in the season. They took the lead late February and never looked back. They won the French Super Cup, beating Marseille. They were upset, though, by Paris FC in the French Cup round of 32, the only major prize they did not win. They beat Tottenham to win the UEFA Super Cup. They beat Flamengo to win the FIFA Intercontinental Cup. Aston Villa's road to the season review, their road to the Europa League for Unai Emery's team one season ago. Read a little something like this. Second in the league phase, 7 wins and a defeat in the Europa League phase. They beat Bologna, Feyenoord, Maccabi Tel Aviv, Young Boys, Basel, Fenerbahce, and Salzburg, while losing to go-ahead Eagles. The knockout phase began with a 3-0 aggregate win over French club Lille in the round of 16. In the quarterfinals, they cruised 7-1 over Bologna on aggregate. Then they overturned a 1-0 deficit and won 4-0 in the second leg over fellow Midlands club Nottingham Forest. And on May 20th, they beat Freiburg 3-0 in Istanbul. Villa finished 4th in the Premier League last year on 65 points. They were in the top 3 at some point portions of the season, but eventually a good year. They did suffer some disappointment in their domestic cup campaigns. Lost to Newcastle in the 4th round of the FA Cup and Brentford in the 3rd round of the League Cup. So now, the UEFA anthem has been played, and now we're ready to go. Here are the team news. Here's the team news. First for PSG. Matavi Savinov will get the call in goal. One new face in the PSG starting 11. That's midfielder Magnus Akaluche, who was signed just 6 days ago for 50 million euros from Monaco. The rest of the starting lineup for PSG in numerical order: 2, Achraf Hakimi; 5, Marquinhos; number 7, Kvaratskhelia Kvaratskhelia; 14, Desiree Doué; 17, Vitinha; 25, Nuno Mendes; 33, Warren Zaire-Emery; 51, Willian Pacho; and number 87, João Neves. It is Savinov at the back, a 4-4-2. Mendes, Pacho, Marquinhos, Hakimi at the back. It's not a 4-4-2, it's a 4-3-3. Zaire-Emery, Vitinha, and Neves, the midfielders. The 3 attackers are Kvaratskhelia, Doué, and Akaluche. Aston Villa have also one new signing that makes an appearance in the starting lineup tonight. It's Brazilian João Gomes, who cost the club $38 million to buy from Wolverhampton Wanderers following their relegation to the Premier League. It is a bit of an up-and-down squad if you look at it. Marco Bizot, the Dutchman, gets the starting goal. The rest of the Villa starting 11 in numerical order: number 2, Matty Cash; 3, Victor Lindelof; number 7, the captain, John McGinn; number 8, Boubacar Kamara; 10, Emi Buendia; 14, Pau Torres; 22, Ian Matson; 39, Brian Maggio; and 53, George Hemmings. And the team alignment is a 4-4-2 for Emery: Cash, Lindelof, Torres, Cash, and Matson, the fullbacks; Lindelof and Torres, the central defenders; McGinn and Hemmings are the wide midfielders, with Gomez and Kamara in the middle, and the 2 attackers, Buendia and Maggio. The 51st UEFA Super Cup about to get underway. 73 degrees Fahrenheit, 48% humidity. A clear night for football in the city of Salzburg. And again, the match rules here: 90 minutes, no extra time, penalty shootout if the scores are level. Maximum of 12 named substitutes, 5 substitutions, 3 substitution opportunities. Ready to go, and we're underway with Super Cup 51. PSG have it on the right-hand side in their blue shirts with a little bit of red on there. A bit of a different look for PSG, you'd have to say. Aston Villa going with their all-white look tonight. PSG have had some players, some big-name players, leave the club in the off-season. Gonzalo Ramos no longer with the team. He's now at AC Milan. Lee Kang-in is now at Atletico Madrid for 40 million euros. And PSG also got 38 million from Juventus to get Randall Kolo Muani. PSG also have a few other substitutes available. And, of course, one of the substitutes available is Bradley Barcola. He is listed as available, but there has been rampant speculation the last couple of weeks that he might be on his way to England to play for Liverpool. Too many cooks in the kitchen, perhaps. Somebody's going to have to leave. But this is as you know, if you follow the game, you know PSG are very, very attack-minded. And Luis Enrique has an embarrassment of riches. There's Vitinha, left-hand side to Ashraf Hakimi. Villa players out. Of course, the big one in terms of money was Morgan Rogers. Left for Chelsea, £117 million was the deal there. Luca Dean, of course, is with PSG, $8.5 million. He could feature tonight. There's Lindelof playing it back to Visit. Also, leaving the club, Yuri Tielemans is now at Manchester United. Enzo Baranecchia at Benfica, and Daniel Mullins now at Roma. Villa have actually only made one other first-team signing. It is a pretty good one, though. Johan Manzambi, the young Swiss midfielder, who applied the "if you can't beat him, join him" mantra. He signed from Freiburg, the team Villa beat at the Europa League final for $52 million. Now committed there. Unai Emery. The manager, he is so good in the Europa League, and he has brought Aston Villa back to the big time and the big high level of European football. It was a mere pipe dream 10 years ago when they suffered an embarrassing relegation. Free kick whipped in, extra pass back right-hand side to McGinn. Here's McGinn. He'll whip a cross in, and it's headed away. Now on to Luce. He loses possession. Aston Villa will have a throw-in. These two teams did meet a couple of years ago, 2 seasons ago, in the Champions League in the quarterfinals. PSG winning. Villa gave it a good effort, but been cutting through there. Giving a good effort here, left-hand side, good attacking play, but it's blocked behind for a corner. Coutinho on the bench, that could be an interesting one. Be interesting to see how the Villa crowd would react if he were to come on at any point. Here is the Aston Villa corner. Are whipped in. Pau Torres leapt for it, didn't make contact with it. Cleared away only as far as Matty Cash. Cash now will roll it back over to Bizot, the goalkeeper. Marco Bizot getting the call in goal. 35-year-old from Hoorn in the Netherlands. He's previously played with Ajax, Groningen, Genk, AZ, and Brest. He's been with Villa since 2025 but has only made 7 appearances. That will happen when a goalkeeper the caliber of Emi Martinez is your starter. He's the guy you're going up against. PSG now with a run on the right-hand side. And blocked away. Ian Maatsen with a run. Maatsen's fouled from behind by Desiree Doué. He does have a Europa League winners medal. He made 14 appearances in all competition, including 4 in the Europa League. He did receive a straight red card in that aforementioned FA Cup loss to Newcastle. Villa were up 1-0 in that match. They ended up losing 3-1, so big mistake was made there. Needless to say. Here's Aston Villa inside their own half. Playing it back. Marquinhos flips it forward, and he's going to get it back to Bizot. It is. And the Aston Villa goalkeeper will have a slight jog. No real chances 5.5 minutes in. Perhaps a bit of a feeling out process. 2 very good managers. 2 good teams, although one is, on paper, a better one, you would say. As Unai Emery preaches calm. 54-year-old from Honduras, Spain, who did manage PSG from 2016 to 2018. Of course, he's remembered infamously in the PSG circles. He was the manager the night they blew that epic round of 16 tie in 2017 to Barcelona, the La Remontada, as it's referred to. Unbelievable what he has been able to do since taking over in November of 2022. He's won 56% of his matches. And of course, we mentioned him. You could call him, as PSG thought, you could call him, and for certain, in case certain someone's listening, I'm going to say it in a normal voice. Inside joke Grand Prix. You could call him Mr. Europa League. Unbelievable what he's been able to do. The win with Villa back in May was his 5th Europa League triumph. Of course, he won 3 in a row in the mid-2010s when he was at Sevilla. He also won one with Villarreal, and then the one with Villa last year. And he also made another final with Arsenal back in 2019. Lost that final to Chelsea in Baku in what was the final game for Chelsea legend Eden Hazard. Zaire Emery trying to give chase. Back to Marquinhos as PSG now have it back in their own half defensively. He also has one league championship. That was with PSG. His only other major honors, though, in terms of trophies, have come with PSG. So some people that might say, don't call him an overly elite manager because of that. But I think Aston Villa fans will tell you they couldn't have hardly gotten anybody better to save their club. Not save him as Kamara plays it forward. Try to get it towards Hemmings, but couldn't do it. Luis Enrique. Speaking of great managers, here's one that you can call elite. 56-year-old from Gijón, Spain. What a job that he has done. Though, let's just say he is Lionel Messi even said he's one of the 2 best managers that he ever played for, with Guardiola, of course, being the other. Of course, Luis Enrique is not exactly a favorite of the media. In fact, a couple of years ago, he stated that he would gladly take a 50% cut of his salary if it meant he could avoid speaking to journalists. Of course, 12 times he scored for Spain, Enrique. Here's PSG in the attacking half. They're in the penalty area. They tried to play it in. Here is Kvaratskhelia. Trying to tee it up here for Mendes. Mendes in the penalty area, trying to chip it towards goal, and he's up with an easy catch. Let's finish up on Enrique. His managerial run, of course, he has 3 Champions League titles, the 2 with PSG, and the one that he also won with Barcelona when he had MSN back in 2015. Of course, if you believe the American footballing press, that trio might be getting ready to get reunited at Inter Miami. Wouldn't that be something? Messi and Suarez already there. Neymar could be on his way there. Pass back to Bizet. He also won 2 Spanish League titles with Barcelona, 2. And he, of course, has 2 Super Cup wins. Not only did he win this one, he beat Emery in 2015 to win that Super Cup. There's PSG on the right-hand side. 10 minutes gone. Here is Vitinha. Vitinha's going to have a crack, and it's well over the bar. PSG Ultras and making some noise. Just past the 10-minute mark. Clock about to hit 11 minutes. Here's Kravitz Cayley on the left-hand side. Now Mendez. Mendez now Aston Villa have a chance here. Here is Matt Joe trying to run with the ball here. Matt Joe has been pushed to the side and out of play. In the 12th minute. Good play right here. Mendez. And then pushed back in. It's going to be a throw-in. I believe it's going to be Aston Villa who have possession. And now, McGinn and Mendez are having a disagreement, and the linesman over there is saying, just get up there. Of course, we always like telling you about the assistant referees. We mentioned, of course, that Omar Artan is the main official. His assistants are also from African nations, Liban, Razak Ahmed from Djibouti, and Kenyan Stefan Elazar Onyago Yimbe. Aston Villa with it in the attacking half. Shot on goal, and he wasn't too far wide. Not a bad effort at all from Boubacar Kamara, but he fired it just wide to the left. And a goal kick for PSG. Rest of the assistant referees for this match tonight. The fourth official is Rade Obrinovic from Slovenia. Heading the VAR is Marco De Bello from Italy, and his assistant there is Guillermo Cuadra Fernandez from Spain. Goes back over to Bizot. Aston Villa stuck in their own half, and now they go forward and got a little bit of room on this left-hand side. A chance maybe for them to break. Hemmings has the ball. Hemmings now still has in possession. Hemmings now over to Buendia. Tried to squeeze it into Hemmings. Couldn't do it. And it's cleared away. It'll be a throw-in for Aston Villa. Still we search for the opening goal in this one. We'll chip into the box, and where's it going to drop? It's going to drop right at the feet of Safonov. Matvey Safonov, the 27-year-old from Stavropol, Russia, who's been with PSG since 2024. Also played at Krasnodar. The man of the match in the 2025 Intercontinental Cup final. Made 27 appearances across all competitions for the Parisians last year. Here is Kravitz Cayley for PSG in the attacking half. Now it's Nuno Mendez. Mendez with a pass back. Goes back to Safonov. Now here is Vitinha. By the way, to tell you about Aston Villa, how prepared they are for the season, and how Unai Emery is content on giving a break to a couple of world players who had long World Cup runs. Here's another sign. We mentioned Emi Martinez, the great goalkeeper, the normal Aston Villa starter. Not only did he not start tonight, he's not even listed amongst the two reserve goalkeepers, if need be. James Wright and Owen Asamoah are the other ones. Amount of talent on the bench for each of these teams. PSG has Luca Digne. Also, they could come up Lucas Hernandez, Fabian Ruiz, who's mentioned Dembele. We've mentioned Barcola. Though I would not expect Barcola to come in, being that he has that rampant transfer speculation surrounding him. I'd be shocked if he played tonight. Here's Cash. Villa now playing it into Kamara. Tammy Abraham among those on the bench for Villa, along with Tyrone Mings and Ross Barkley. It's not as big of a bench, if you will, for the PSG for Aston Villa, but it is still a good bench. PSG a little bit lazy. Hemmings was nearly in on it. Feels like this is the one difference here, and this is why I think most people are considering PSG heavy favorites tonight. But you hold that thought as McGinn on the right-hand side. PSG are taking this like they would a normal Champions League or a big league contest, a major final. Aston Villa is kind of treating it as if they're playing in the last 16 of the Carabao Cup or the last 32 of the FA Cup. Yes, there are some big pieces, but there are a lot of guys with unknown names and big squad numbers and big shirt numbers that are playing in the starting lineup and on the substitutes side of things. Ashraf Hakimi on the right-hand side for PSG, back inside their own half. Here is Hakimi. Now Mendes for PSG in his own half. Shea with it now, gives it back to Nuno Mendes. In the 18th minute, the only real chance, anything that resembles a chance from either side was that shot wide from Kamara. So still searching for the opening goal here. Now Zaire Emery on the left-hand side, and he dribbles forward. Back to Kvaratskhelia, and he passes it back to Nuno Mendes. Now PSG have it back with Marquinhos. He'll pass it on the right-hand side. Marquinhos now trying to work with it. Giving it back up now to Mendes, who gives it now to Kvaratskhelia. Here is Kvaratskhelia looking for a little bit of room to operate. Does in the form of Vitinha. Vitinha with it. Given away, and now Aston Villa with a chance to run. And is running, and trying to squeeze it forward and couldn't, and it's going to go all the way back to Safanov. 18 and a half minutes on the clock, as you see on your screen. Don't forget, more live soccer coming your way. On Sunday, we dip our toes into the Dutch Eredivisie with Ajax and Heerenveen. Ajax, a club, big things expected for them. They've made some big signings in the transfer window. They have fallen off a little bit this year, in the last few years. Perhaps their signings may give them fresh hope of winning the Eredivisie title. Wouldn't that be great for their fans? Of course, Ajax playing this week against Shelburne in a Conference League qualifier, and you better believe if Ajax do make the league phase of the Conference League, we'll probably have some of their games. We like the Dutch around here, at least I do. Hoping to give you some Eredivisie and Dutch Cup games if possible. And starting on Sunday with that one. Zaire Emery. Here is Kvaratskhelia, lifts one to the right-hand side. Now back it goes to Hakimi. Hakimi with a cross. The header from Akaluche. Only goes, not a really good one. It goes back to Mendes. Kvaratskhelia, left side of the penalty area. Trying to work his way through. Gives it back to Doué. Doué! And his shot was saved by Bizet. First chance of the game for the Parisians. Still not all the way clear, though, for Villa. Doué, Kvaratskhelia. Oh, and he's lashed that in. Oh, he's hammering it home. And PSG are on the board first in some style, just past 20 minutes. A thumping finish from Kavicha Kvaratskhelia. And the little Georgian has put PSG up 1-0. Just hammering in. Aston Villa were rather sloppy in dealing with the danger, and then Bizet just beaten by the power, the pace of that shot by Kvaratskhelia, who's One of the more exciting young talents in the game. Boy, he's just lashed that in. I mean, he has just lashed that in. He's not in a terrible position, but he was never getting that. 25-year-old finds the back of the net again for the first time on the new season. Scored 19 goals in all competitions for PSG last season. And he's off to a flyer in this campaign. Last season's UEFA Champions League Player of the Season. He's put up 1-0, and PSG won it back on the attack as play resumed. Off the restart, they slowed away, and then duel is fouled from behind. So PSG are going to have a free kick in a pretty dangerous position. So PSG now with this free kick. Here is Hakimi. Vitinha now over to Mendes. Mendes lets fly. It took a deflection. Goes wide of mark. I think it deflected off of a PSG man, so it's going to be a goal kick. But worth a go at a Super Cup for Nuno Mendes. Of course, all leagues have their Super Cups. England's got theirs this weekend, Community Shield Week. Arsenal and Manchester City. PSG, by the way, do have the French equivalent of that. And after a couple of years of it being played in different places overseas in the middle of the season, that's gone back to a preseason match in France. They play Lens, the French Cup winners, this weekend in that competition. It'll be Sunday they play that Trophy des Champions, the official title for that competition. They also have the Intercontinental Cup final in December that'll be played at a venue to be announced. PSG with a free kick playing it short. Now they attack left-hand side. Comes in. Kamara does deal with it. Here is Zaire Emery. Here is Kvaratskhelia at left-hand side. Kvaratskhelia still dancing. Goes down. Referee not interested. Of course, there was no real complaint from the player himself about a penalty, so no harm and no foul. Aston Villa, of course, the preseason, they've had all these teams play preseason matches. Sometimes they play at home against odd opponents, a wide variety of teams you could play, and that's what makes this sport beautiful. Only in a preseason, in a 2-week span, can you go from playing Walsall to Bayern Munich. They've been overseas some, Villa as well. They've played 6 preseason matches so far. They've won 3 of them. They beat Walsall 5-0. They also won 2 of their games in Asia, beating the Indonesia All-Stars 3-1, as well as securing a 3-1 win over BG Pathum United in Thailand. PSG, though, did lose that. Villa's losses came to Villa losing their matches to the 3 big European league teams they faced: Porto, Aston Villa, and Bayern Munich. And now here's Mendes on the left-hand side, into the area. Mendes, a lot of space. Chance maybe, there were 3 in the box, and somehow it eluded all 3 of them. Danger's still not all the way clear, though. Again. Hemmings goes down. Aston Villa do have one more friendly coming up this weekend on Saturday They'll head to Germany and play Borussia Mönchengladbach. That will be the end of their preseason before they start their Premier League campaign. PSG's preseason. We don't have any preseason games listed for them. Four attempts for PSG, one for Aston Villa, two on target for PSG. And where it counts, 1-0 in favor of the side from France. In the 27th minute, still 1-0 PSG. Now, Aston Villa on a break. McGinn, and the header is just wide. Wow, that was a real opportunity there. And Maggio just headed it wide. Brian Maggio, who is a youth player, an academy player, getting a chance to play in the big time. He's only 17, and he nearly made quite the impact. From infield England, made 5 appearances for the French club Metz last season. Had a bit of a had to go through arbitration and had to go do some things before being declared eligible. And boy, Maggio, the 17-year-old, nearly had a moment to remember. 29th minute, 1-0 lead for PSG. The goal from Kvaratskhelia. Into the 29th minute now. Here comes PSG. Here's Kvaratskhelia, left-hand side, ready to dance into the area. Kvaratskhelia chips it in. And Aston Villa had a player there, and it's chested back towards Bizet in goal. But I tell you, Aston Villa fans, that's some very colorful attire that they're wearing. Of course, coming up for them, a new Premier League season. How will they handle it? Of course, both these teams back in the Champions League, and who knows, they could be playing each other in the league phase. Still trying to get used, to be honest with you. It still takes some getting used to that they do it like that now, and that they play their games and how they determine who plays who for 8 match days. Again, at the risk of sounding like a boomer, I much prefer the old 8-14 group format. That's just me. I thought it was good. No need tinkering, but I'm not in charge of UEFA. Apparently, I lack the making money instincts of life. I'll say this: one positive, and people are starting to complain about it. One positive that I have discovered, at least with the way it's set up now, the one positive I find is that in the Europa League and the Conference League, you do not get teams. Once you get to the league phase, now obviously in the qualifying rounds it's like this, but once you get into the league phase, you do not get a free pass anymore into those competitions. Like if you fail to get out of the league phase in the Champions League, hold that thought, does Aston Villa have a chance here? Joe was in there trying to fiddle it around. Matson getting chased and PSG away, but of course, back then, if you finish third in your group of the Champions League, you go to the Europa League, and finish third in your Europa League group, you go to the Conference League. No more free passes on that end anymore, which I like. A lot of people don't because they don't appreciate, they don't fall for the fairy tale stories of Freiburg or Rayo Vallecano playing in European finals. Okay. Here's Mendez and Kamara. I mean, again, I hate to, like, I'm going on a rant here, but, people, this isn't just in this sport, but everybody in every sport, they've made it to where parody is now like a bad thing per se. And I guess I get it. If it's too unpredictable, maybe you don't have greatness. But my God, variety is the spice of life. Last time I checked, every now and again, if you get a club going a big run to a final, then I think that's good for the game long term. Those teams get money, and that'll only help those lesser leagues, so to speak, if they can make deep runs. Just like when Olympiacos won the Conference League a few years ago. Had that one on my old platform. That was a joy to call. So they beat Fiorentina. Here's Ecco Luce. Nothing much happening in the game, which is why I've gone on this tangent. PSG with it back just inside their own half. That was my Matthew Owens moment of the day. He'd be so proud of me. Long ball. Hakimi giving chase. Maatsen defending. Maatsen makes Hakimi down, and now Hakimi has been called for a foul, much to his chagrin. 1-0 the lead still for PSG. Aston Villa play it back inside of their own half. 33rd minute. Emery will have an interesting team talk, that is for sure. Not a whole lot, which again, you almost kind of have to resign yourself to the fact that you're going to have to play a little more defensive, because if you try to match PSG attack for attack, and this is even for like big teams, or teams that are that have admittedly more quality than an Aston Villa. Just ask your Arsenals, your Barcelonas, your Bayerns the last couple of years, your Liverpools. Even those teams, you cannot go PSG head on and beat them at their pace. It's virtually impossible to do that. Now Aston Villa's had to go on the attack a little bit. You would think they'll probably have a more attacking mindset for the second half, being that they have conceded the goal now. Here is Maatsen. Chip forward, and now a chance for Aston Villa. Right on cue, here they go. One-on-one, big chance. Maggio, Hemmings. Lost out. Maggio goes for a curler, and it was just off the mark. Maggio nearly gave Aston Villa a stunning smash and grab. Hemmings does the running. Maggio, angle was decent. Not bad, curl, just drifted a bit away. Keeper was beaten, but he couldn't find the goal either. And a let-off for Luis Enrique's men. And Unai Emery, he thought maybe for a brief moment he had a chance to do something. Alas, he did not. So right on cue, I say they might just sit for a little bit and they go forward and attack. PSG have completed 209 passes to Aston Villa's 77. 92% accuracy for PSG. Villa's is at 76%. Zaire Emery now playing it back. They're in the attacking half, left side, Kvaratskhelia. Back over to Neves. Out, maybe about 22 yards from goal, left-hand side. He goes down, and that's going to be a foul against Aston Villa. PSG now with the throw-in. Here's William Pacho now with a touch. Now back to Mendez. Zaire Emery now back to Kvaratskhelia. Kvaratskhelia, now Duel. Now it's Marquinhos with it. Right-hand side, it's Kvaratskhelia with it again. PSG and Kvaratskhelia. Good little pass built up here. Here is Hakimi. Hakimi. Now it is Mendez. Mendez now gets it to Zaire Emery. Zaire Emery now over to Mendez. Mendez. Douay with it. On the right-hand side, here is PSG with Douay. And Douay out of play, and it's going to be a... Actually, I think it was offside against Douay, so offside against the Parisians. Enrique casting an interesting figure over that PSG touchline. Aston Villa now back with their own half. PSG pressing a little bit. Matty Cash now gives it back to Lindelof. Now back to Bizot, who will go on. A reminder coming up at halftime, which caught up on other news around the footballing world, including a major managerial appointment. And it's an historic one for one of the biggest brand name countries in the game. I'll tell you more about that history being made. Now here is Mendez to Kvaratskhelia. PSG now inside of their own half. Trying to link it out here. Here is Kvaratskhelia out of play, and now goes back to Matty Cash. Cash now to Kamara. Aston Villa back in their own half. PSG really pressing. Need to be careful. Villa trying to get it away. Left-hand side. Kvaratskhelia went in for it. Next week, we have the UEFA Champions League and Europa and Conference League playoffs. We'll hope to give you some of those and determine who will make the league phase the proper of those three great competitions. How long will it be before UEFA institutes a three-team Super Cup, a +1, a Super Cup play-in, if you will? Like, it's over a couple of days before the season. They'll have the Europa League winner play the Conference League winner, and whoever wins that gets to play the Champions League winner. I just wonder how long. Of course, to be fair, it never happened in the days when you used to have three, when it was the Champions League, the European Cup, the UEFA Cup, and the Cup Winners' Cup. But it is interesting that as Villa have it with Buendia, and Buendia with some room to operate left-hand side, blocked briefly. Mad Joe. Buendia goes down, and what's the call going to be? But I just wonder, because, we like to expand things for money in this game now. I wonder if that'll ever happen. It probably will soon. Of course, the UEFA Conference League won by an English team last year, Crystal Palace, winning that competition. They defeated Rayo Vallecano in the final. They'll be in the Europa League, Will Palace. That's a good conference league this year, by the way. If the teams that get through the qualifiers get through, I mentioned Ajax are going to be there. Getafe, you got Brighton's in there. Atalanta's going to be in there. Europa League's going to be loaded too. You're going to have Palace, Bournemouth, Sunderland, but you're also going to have Juventus and AC Milan amongst others. Here's the Villa corner. Alongside, back to McGinn. McGinn will chip it in, and the header from Maggio misses the bar, misses over by about 3 feet. The 17-year-old is making himself known tonight. It's a good scouting opportunity. It's what happens when you give youngsters a chance to play in this game. You just never know. Again, fouled again. So another free kick for Aston Villa. John McGinn looks like he's going to be the one to be over this. He'll try to send one in. Again, lofts one in. Header into the mixer. Kamara heads it across, and Stefanov is there to smother it. And a lot of mixing going around there, but PSG survived the Villa threat. Kvaratskhelia goal still the difference here as we're now in the 43rd minute. PSG trying to flick it forward. Here they go now. Kvaratskhelia. He's on the other side. Three minutes gone. This is Stefanov. Really good. That was a free header there by Pau Torres was also in there. Kamara had a crack at it too on that scramble a minute ago. Lindelof had the initial header. Then Al had a chance at it. Then Kamara had a chance at it. And Villa have it with Gomez. Ball being played in here when Dia. Here's Maggio. Big chance. Runs over a man. Maggio wide of the mark. I think he's going to get called for a foul. The NFL season doesn't start for another month. Looked like Earl Campbell bouldering a defender in the 1970s with that play. Good Lord. Did a William Pacho like a tackling dummy. You can't get away with that in this sport as Maggio hit the post. Apparently he did get away with it, though. I don't think they called a foul on that. Or maybe they did. I don't know. He did. Maggio appeals. I'd be shocked if they didn't call. This is a foul. I mean, he just trucked him. Again, we're playing American football. Great. Great job, but Aston Villa with it back. They've really gotten a foothold into this game. Ever since I mentioned their tactics, they've really gone on the attacking edge. McGinn, right-hand side. Will feed it back towards Hemmings. Hemmings, now back to McGinn. McGinn whips one in. Maggio is there. Chance goal! What a moment for the 17-year-old. Welcome to the big time, Brian Maggio. A 17-year-old who, when you go look at the under 21s and academy page to find him, but he's found the back of the net against Paris Saint-Germain in the UEFA Super Cup. That's a moment he'll remember for the rest of his life. Cool finish, too. And that had been coming from not just them, but him in particular. He's really been using that big frame of his to bully that PSG backline. And a moment for Brian Maggio. I said James earlier, it is Brian Maggio. What a great moment for that young man. They have had a minute of stoppage time at the end of the first half. They're probably going to play just a little bit more because of the goal and the celebration and the reorganizing it took. But Brian Maggio, now coming forward again. They have not blown the whistle yet. McGinn trying to play it in. McGinn across the face of goal. Nearly was another chance. Still not there. Kadje has it. And to no one's surprise, by the way, you will learn that he has become the youngest player to ever score in the UEFA Super Cup. And that takes us to halftime. And what a moment for he and those Villa fans. PSG took the lead through a more familiar goal scoring name in Kavica Kvaratskhelia, but a great equalizer and a great moment for Brian Maggio has made the score at halftime in the UEFA Super Cup. Aston Villa won, Paris Saint-Germain won. We'll be back in just a moment. This is the UEFA Super Cup on USM. Halftime at Salzburg, and it's 1-1 between Aston Villa and PSG in UEFA Super Cup. Kavicia Kvaratskhelia giving PSG a 1-0 lead before 17-year-old Brian Maggio. Villa level. Well, a lot of games, a lot of preseason friendlies going on as we get ever closer to the start of a new league campaign. Of course, some teams have already played. We'll get you caught up on what else is happening across the soccer world as far as non-preseason. But first, there is a major news. Major news that broke just a little bit ago and has now been official. We mentioned that that was an historic moment. That was a historic moment. And now here it is. Xavi Hernandez, the Xavi, has been appointed as the new manager of the Dutch national team following Ronald Koeman's resignation. Of course, there's been a long-standing, but they just continue to cycle through the Koeman and Van Gaal deal. They've been doing that for a while. Arne Slot said he wasn't interested. And so the Dutch go with their first foreign coach since 1978. The 46-year-old returning to management 2 years after 2 years out of the game following his dismissal in 2024 at Barcelona. He has agreed a 4-year contract with the Orange. He will oversee the team through the 2028 European Championships and the 2030 World Cup. Xavi said, quote, "I consider it a tremendous honor to become head coach of the Dutch national team. As someone who received his training at Barca's Academy with strong influences from Johan Cruyff and Rinus Michels, among others, I feel a special connection to Dutch football. You could say that I am partially a son of Dutch football. Other great coaches, especially Louis van Gaal, under whom I made my debut at Barca, and Frank Rijkaard also played an important role in shaping me as a coach." Interestingly enough, Xavi also replaced Koeman when he took over at Barcelona in 2021. He led them to a league title following season. Of course, he joins the Dutch national team after their below-par World Cup campaign, which saw them eliminated in the round of 32 by Morocco. Of course, Xavi, known for his great success as a player with Barcelona and with the Spanish national team, and now he gets a chance to showcase his international managerial skills with the move to the Netherlands. So that was the big story here. We're teasing. Xavi is the new manager. Now, let's get you a couple what else is happening across the football world. We're not going to give you the preseason scores, but we will tell you what else is happening in other matches tonight. Leagues Cup continues tonight here in these United States and in Mexico. Inter Miami will play Leon. That's at 7:30 tonight. Also at 7:30, Atletico de San Luis will be in Orlando to take on Orlando City. Monterrey against Nashville. Also tonight, Toluca against FC Dallas. San Diego v. Puebla. LAFC against Querétaro, and Seattle against Guadalajara. Also tonight, you've got first leg action for the Copa Libertadores knockout rounds. Palmeiras against Cerro Porteño. Platense against Coquimbo Unido. And Cruzeiro against Flamengo. In the USL tonight, there's one game in USL League One. Forward Madison against the Greenville Triumph. The big story, though, if you're into the lower levels of American soccer tonight, it's a cup night, the USL Cup, which is a league cup, if you will, kind of like the EFL Trophy and the FA Trophy for the teams from the championship, from the second and third tiers of the American game, USL Championship and USL League One, a chance for them to win silverware. The third ever USL Cup quarterfinals tonight. The headline matchup is in Charlotte, where the Independents take on the team that won it last year, Hartford Athletic. Also tonight, Tampa Bay against Louisville City, San Antonio FC against Miami FC, and Spokane Velocity against Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Those are your USL Cup quarterfinals. Women's African Cup of Nations today. It was Malawi, a 3-1 winner over Algeria. Morocco and Cameroon just underway, no score. UEFA Conference League qualifying, 3 qualifying matches today. Copenhagen beat Debrecen 5-1. They win at 8-1 on aggregate. Hapoel Tel Aviv lose to GKS Katowice 2-1 of the night, but the Israeli side advanced to the Conference League playoffs 3-2 on aggregate. And also punching a ticket to the Conference League playoffs is Rapid Vienna, as they defeated Pade Lenamiskan 2-0 tonight and 6-1 on aggregate. The Scottish League Challenge Cup, lower levels there, and reserve teams are playing there. Celtics B team have a 1-0 lead against Hamilton Academical. You also have a couple of matches tonight in the Conmebol Sudamericana. It's Red Bull Bragantino against Atletico Mineiro and Tigre against Montevideo City Torque. In the Argentine Cup tonight, Atletico Tucumán against Independiente. And the NCAA college soccer season is officially underway with plenty of matches going on. One match is final. Northern Kentucky beat Austin Peay by 4-1. George Washington leading Temple 3-0 at the half. Other notable games later tonight amongst teams ranked in the top 25. 25th ranked Clemson plays at Auburn. That's at 7 o'clock Eastern. Kickoff tonight. Also at 7 o'clock, second-ranked Notre Dame takes on Samford. Northwestern will be at 11th-ranked Virginia. At 7:30, number 7 Michigan State will host Xavier. 8 o'clock, the kickoff for number 10 Arkansas against Baylor. Number 15 Kansas hosts Utah State. That's at 8 o'clock kickoff. Also at 8 Eastern, number 21 Memphis against Kennesaw State. Number 5 Vanderbilt hosting SMU. What a matchup this is. Number 16 LSU and number 18 Wake Forest. At 9 o'clock tonight, number 13 Colorado plays Colorado State. Third-ranked Duke against Southern California. And number 9 UCLA plays BYU at 10 o'clock. Also number 12 Washington against Portland as the college soccer season gets underway. Tonight, the women's soccer season. Second half of this game about ready to get back underway, and PSG are going to make a change. The debut for Akaluche will be a short one, and PSG now bringing on one of their heavy hitters, if you will. Ousmane Dembele is coming on for Paris Saint-Germain to start this second half. So, first time this season we get to see the 29-year-old, of course, part of a great French attack at the World Cup. 34 goals, 77 appearances. Goals last year in all competitions for Ousmane Dembele. He will come on, and let's see, do we have the starting sign? Yes, we do. Aston Villa will go right to left in their white. PSG left to right. They'll be going in the opposite direction. Zaire Emery now looking there. Oh, and deflection there. So Safanov ready to cleared away. And I failed to mention our upcoming USM schedule at halftime, but such is life. Failed to mention that. For that, I do apologize. I do sincerely apologize for that. But we're going to have time to get it in for you. Don't you worry your pretty little head about that. Big weekend, of course. I should say, if you don't mind, we can. Of course, our next scheduled soccer broadcast, more on that in a minute, is Aston Villa. Try to push forward, but the pass intercepted. Now here comes PSG. PSG now has the opportunity. Billy trying to pull the strings. It goes back over to Marquinhos. Now gives it to Douay. Well, that was not a good pass. And Maggio trying to use his strength to get away from Douay. Again, our next live soccer matchup. We have two more upcoming matches for you. Sunday, 10:45 a.m. Ajax Heerenveen, live Dutch football. And then we'll have action from the opening round, the final match of the opening match of the EFL Championship weekend. Cardiff and Wrexham, 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 o'clock UK time for that one, the all-Welsh affair to kick off the championship campaign. Of course, Major League Baseball continues on the networks. Tomorrow night at 10 Eastern, the Milwaukee Brewers and the LA Dodgers. Here is Hakimi. He loses out. Zaire Emery. And a little flick. Here is Hakimi on the right-hand side. Hakimi to Douay. Douay going down and wanted a penalty, but none given. Milwaukee and the Dodgers. Could that be an NLCS preview for tomorrow night, 10 Eastern? Friday night, 6:30 Eastern, we've got the Boston Red Sox and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock Eastern, the rivalry renewed between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs. Also racing this weekend, NASCAR's back Saturday night action, the Cookout 400 from the Richmond Raceway in Virginia. And then Sunday at noon, it's IndyCar, the Ontario Honda dealers, Indy at Markham. That's what's coming up for you next week. Or for the rest of this week, I should say, across our family of networks. 1-1 here between PSG and Aston Villa. Here is Desiree Douay. Kimi. Now back to Marquinhos. On ball, right-hand side, Zaire Emery. He gives chase. Right-hand side, can he stay in? This is Zaire Emery with Matson defending. Now it's Hakimi. Douay. Fatinia. Nice little 1-2 to Kravitz Kalia. And how play goes. Will we see Lucadinha, the player who joined from Aston Villa? They try and they're making another run at it here. Now, Aston Villa, here is Maggio. Good running. He picks out a good pass. McGinn's there. Cuts to his left. John McGinn. Safanov made a save. '51st minute and a yellow card. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the first yellow card of the match. And I think, actually, he's given a second yellow card. I think one of the yellow cards he gave was to somebody on the Aston Villa bench, I think. We'll have to double check on that. It was a collision between Pal Torres and Desiree Douay. PSG now with it back in their own half again. Unless they've changed the rules on us and they've gone all screwy on us here. Are that indicate that if the match is tied for 90 minutes, it goes straight to a penalty shootout. So we shall see how that works out. Here is Nuno Mendes, now over to Dembele. Of course, still a long ways away. Both these teams like, let's try to get a winner and not have penalties. Hakimi couldn't get the ball. Now it's Aston Villa in possession with Matson. Now it's Pau Torres. Here is Nuno Mendes. Now it's Vitinha. Vitinha now back over to Hakimi. Now Zaire Emery. Hakimi now over to Zaire Emery. Vitinha. Pacho. Now it goes to Mendes. Now it is Marquinhos. Now it's duel. And there. So they gave Pau Torres the yellow card. So they gave him a yellow card to Pau Torres, just to confirm that. PSG in the attacking half. Marquinhos now plays that towards Dembele. Aston Villa 11 attempts to PSG's 4, and now more on target. Who would ever have thought that would have been a statistic at the start of the game? Even where it counts. Passing here. Here's Kvaratskhelia, the PSG goal scorer. Tried to find Dembele, but Lindelof was in the way. Good job by him. Now PSG good threaded ball through to Dembele. And fifth minute, trying to chip it through. Temix. PSG coming forward again. Here is Douay. Squeeze it in. Now 56th minute. Here is PSG now with Kvaratskhelia. Kvaratskhelia now back to Nuno Mendes. Teeing up a shot. Took a deflection and straight forward for Bizet. PSG have it again. Try to squeeze it through for Dembele again. Aston Villa now in possession. They got a chance and a bit of a stumble here. Belay now back over it goes. PSG back in their own half, nearing the hour, still 1-1. UEFA Super Cup 2026, 51st edition of this one. Live on the Super Internet station, WUSM. Long ball, here is Hakimi. Hakimi trying to cross one in. It's not a very good deflect, not a very good cross though. Headed bang, only as far bang as Hakimi though. Hakimi now to Marquinhos. Now Mendes. Mendes to Kvaratskhelia. Kvaratskhelia losing out. Now Maggio on the run for Aston Villa. A lot of space for him here. Maggio now feeds it back over towards McGinn. McGinn. Another cross coming in here. On crosses. I've had to worry about that. Aston Villa, they decide they're not just going to be here to make up the numbers. Let's go up. Gomez attacks it, so too does Douay. Now Villa have it once again. Good ball in. Buendia's header flicked over the bar at the near post. They were just wide from Emi Buendia. Safanov now trying to direct traffic as we get set for the goal kick. Approaching an hour gone. It's 1-1 in Salzburg between PSG and Aston Villa. Again, a great game between these two. Pass here. Here comes Mendes. Mendes, and he loses out. Another foul. PSG will run. Here is Hakimi. Hour gone. Great pass. This is Douay. Onside. Desiree Douay! Brilliant finish. But the flag does come up late. I wondered about that. He had a lot of space. Linesman waited very late. Delayed offside call. Yeah, he's clearly offside. It's a good, cool finish from a cool player in Desiree Douay, but he was offside and the flag came late. Now hold on a minute. VAR is checking this. There is a VAR check, and I guess they just want to make sure. He looked off to me. Now the referee's going to blow his whistle here. And they've given the goal. Well now. Goal given, and Desiree Douay gives PSG the lead. It was a late offside call originally, and then after the official After a VAR check, the young star Desiree Douay. It's Douay doing good yet again, and PSG now lead this Super Cup for a second time. He's only 21. He's one of the best young players on the planet. And he is showing you why yet again. 13 goals in all competitions for PSG last season. That was 3 down from his 16 the previous year. And of course, he did score 1 goal this summer at the World Cup in their group stage win against Norway. And the reaction when the referee said the goal is good. And a big exaltation of joy from Desiree Douay. Aston Villa coming right back at it, though. Here's Gomez! Saved by Stefanov. Comes back to Matson, and he couldn't do anything with it. Now Douay running, PSG on the counterattack. Douay at breakneck speed. Douay goes down, fouled from behind by Gomez. And the Villa debutant will see yellow. As Douay still is down. What a sequence there. The goal from the offs. What a last 4 minutes or so. The Douay goal originally called offside. VAR overturns it. Villa nearly hit one back at the other end, and then Douay on a lightning attack at the PSG end. It's absolutely amazing. And, well, the VAR does show that we're getting a look down or monitor the technology, and it shows that there was a man. I wasn't paying attention to that man over on the far side over there. He was level with him. And so now looking at that, great call by the officials. PSG free kick. Vitinha. Now Dembele. Dembele. Now back to Douay. Douay, nice moves. All the way only as far as Dembele chipped in. Matson. Dembele. PSG now working with it again. That wasn't a very good pass. Here is Hemmings now. Another one of the unknowns. Even if you follow Aston Villa somewhat, you might not be familiar with that name. George Hemmings. He's only 19. He's from Derby. Made his first senior start in Villa's last league phase game of the Europa League against Salzburg a season ago. Made 4 appearances for them. He also made 1 for Aston Villa's under-21s. In 25, he helped Villa's under-18s win the FA Youth Cup. LA plays it through. It's dealt with and away by PSG. Now Villa on the break. Long ball. Can Cadjo get there? Keeper's going to come off the line and going to pick it up just a little too much on that pass from Gomez. Again, was yellow carded just a moment ago. Now Nuno Mendes having a little bit of trouble. Referee now calls for some assistance. Now is PSG, are they going to make a substitute here? Make a substitution. Is what I was what I meant to ask. No. Do resume play with a 2-1 lead, albeit well inside their own half. Is with it now. PSG 2-1 to the good. Goals from Kvaratskhelia and Duel, either side of a historic equalizer for Maggio. So Mendez now rushes back onto the field. 22 minutes to go. This is now Duel with it here. We did have it briefly. Hakimi with the throw-in. Losing possession back. Big chance now for Villa. They've got it. Hemmings trying to get onto the end of it and could not do so. So Hakimi with it now. It's going to be a throw-in. By the way, in case you know, if I did the math earlier, in case you're wondering, of the 50 times the previous Super Cups, the team that won the Champions League or European Cup has won it 30 of the previous 50 times. Duel, Hakimi, PSG looking to give another win for a Champions League winner here. PSG 62% possession to Aston Villa's 38. Now ball right-hand side. Here is Hakimi. Hakimi could not get on the end of it. And it's going to be a goal kick for Aston Villa. So we're into the final, approaching the final 20 minutes. And a couple of changes here for Villa. Soon to be made. Gotta deal with the danger first, though. Oh boy, Dembele. Duel, and now he's back over with Buendia. Zaire Emery. Now over to Safanov. Kimi now gives it to Zaire Emery. Now it's Kvaratskhelia. Kvaratskhelia now with the ball. Now Mendez for PSG. Mendez on the run. Here is Nuno Mendes. Good save. Follow-up whipped. Mendez coming back. Dembele. He couldn't make proper contact either. And you call that a let-off, I think, for Aston Villa, who now go with it at breakneck speed. Villa trying to work through this here. Real quick, just a quick note. French teams in the UEFA Super Cup looking for their second win. England have 10. You'll be shocked to know that the team with the most Super Cups is Real Madrid. They have 6 of them. And now a triple change coming here for PSG, for Aston Villa, including the end of the road for Brian Maggio, who had an absolutely amazing night, a great night, but it comes to an end. I think Kamara's coming off too. We're waiting to see confirmation of who came on. We know, here's one, Maggio, McGinn, and Kamara are the players that'll make way here. And the three players that come on are going to be Tammy Abraham, Lamare Bogard, and Allison. So there's the three. So there's three changes for Unai Emery. Into the 73rd minute we go. Barcelona have an AC Milan are next with 5 each. Liverpool have 4. Atletico Madrid with 3. Here comes Villa right hand side. Cross comes in. Oh, it's a punch. Only come as far as Gomez. His volley blocked by Safanov. Matson's in there. He's trying to run. And Zaire Emery defends very well. And another let off for Aston Villa, or for PSG. PSG and Aston Villa, by the way, whoever wins this game, whoever wins this match will become the 7th club to win this twice, joining Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Ajax, Anderlecht, Valencia, and Juventus. The other teams that have won this cup: Sevilla, Porto, Manchester United, Dinamo Kiev, Nottingham Forest, Aberdeen, Steaua Bucharest, Mechelen, Parma, Lazio, Galatasaray, Zenit, and Manchester City. Only one club has been in the final twice and not won it. That's Hamburg. Barcelona the most runner-ups with 4. PSG bringing on Fabian Ruiz and Lucas Hernandez now. It's like João Neves is going to be one of the ones that makes way. And we'll get confirmation in a moment of who else comes off. It is also the race run for Nuno Mendes. Now here comes Aston Villa, trying to lay the pass off and couldn't do it. This far back there is McGinn. Of course, from 19, of course, there were a couple of years, a few years where it wasn't held. This one was originally a 2-legged final up until 1998. Another thing, just in case you are wondering, if Aston Villa were to somehow get a late goal here, and the match would end 2-2, it would be the 6th time that the Super Cup final would go. The Super Cup final, that the Super Cup would go to a penalty shootout. If I'm not mistaken, away goals rule, yes, 5 times. Previously, it's gone to penalties. And Des now wins it out. Of course, the first time the Super Cup went to a penalty shootout was in 2013 in Prague. It was the first year in the first time in the single leg era of this event, in which it wasn't held in Monaco. They had exclusivity from 98 to 2012, but different venues across Europe have held it since. From the back. And the matches that have gone to penalties, 2013, Bayern Munich beating Chelsea in Prague. That one went to a penalty shootout. PSG, though, looking for the 2-goal lead. Duel, trying to make this a useless research exercise. The second shootout was in 2019. 2019 final. Again, August of 2019. The 2019 final in Istanbul, Liverpool beating Chelsea. The third one was in 2021 in Belfast, Chelsea beating Villarreal. The fourth was in Athens just a few years ago when Man City beat Sevilla. And then last year in Udine when PSG beat Tottenham. Also went to extra time, a golden goal settled it in 2000. Galatasaray beat Real Madrid. The 9th minute. PSG now trying to push forward here. Now, good little play. Ruiz trying to play one in. Could he do it? Now Aston Villa bringing in some more substitutions here. It'll be João Gomez and Pau Torres are the ones, the two players booked. And come off Tyrone Mings and Ross Barkley now. Are set to come on. So Villa have used all 5 of their substitutions. Mentioned Aston Villa, they have the Premier League season coming up. It's coming up for both these teams. Villa opened the season August the 23rd away at Brighton. Brighton and Hove Albion. Home opener against Arsenal on August 31st. That won't be spicy or anything. Matson with a cross, and it's grabbed by Safanov. We'll do the first 5 matches, August and September. 3 matches in September. They'll be away to Hull on the 5th of September. Then they're home for Nottingham Forest. And then it's September 19th, away to Tottenham. Other notable matches in the first half of the season, October 24th. The week commencing of that, they play Manchester City. November 7th, they go to Manchester United. They go to Coventry, renewing that rivalry December 12th. Chelsea, December 19th. Liverpool, December 30th. Tottenham, May 30th. Which will be the final day of the Premier League season. Matson to Barkley. Barkley now with it yet again. Now looking for a little bit more support on this right-hand side. Again, Aston Villa trying to find a way through to at least force a penalty shootout. Get a late equalizer here. Now PSG win possession back. Good passing. And here's Dembele with a little bit of space right-hand side. He's got a couple options to his left. Dembele. Still a chance. Kvaratskhelia kind of went sideways off his foot there. And Aston Villa win possession back. Now here comes Emi Buendia. Now Villa have space. Abraham looking for the extra pass. Here's a chance across the face of goal. No one was there. Chance gone begging, and Aston Villa moves down the right-hand side. Allison's like, why would you do that finish? was Allison indeed. He had that pass. And Unai Emery is frustrated too. Oh my goodness. PSG begin their season in 11 days. They'll begin their French League season. Rennes at home, the curtain raiser on August 23rd. Their first 5 matches for the first 2 months of the year. Some pretty big ones. They go to Lille late August. Then on the 4th of September, they're home to Monaco. They then go to Brest, and then the first El Clasique of the year at Marseille on the 20th of September. Other notable games, hold that thought, they had a chance, Dembele missed on a whiff. They also have a game with Lyon. Other notables in the first half of the year, they play Lyon October 25th. They play Paris FC December the 13th, their last match before the winter break. They will play at home against Toulouse on the final day of the Ligue 1 season. PSG now in space. This is Kvaratskhelia. Kvaratskhelia still trying to go here. Chanson. Where the market goes. '84th minute. Here come PSG on the run. Here come Aston Villa on the run. Hemmings who stayed in the game. Hemmings, and it's crossed. Now Barkley. Barkley trying to squeeze through. Barkley, oh, it's a good one too, but first they got it away. 84-24 on the clock as you see on your screen. By the way, I haven't said this yet. If you like what you're seeing, or you're hearing, more importantly what you're hearing, give us a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when USM broadcasts are about to go on the air and then will go on the air. Sixth minute now. Come in now again. Aston Villa trying to push men forward. 86th minute now. Goes back over towards Ashraf Hakimi. PSG now content to hold it in their own half. Well, then Dembele's going to play it forward. Can Hakimi get there? No, he can't. Matson now over to Hemmings. Hemmings now giving it up. And Matson with a throw in. But before that, PSG are going to get their penultimate substitution in. And the man who is on course to be the match winner, Desiree Douay, is the man who will be taken off here, and he'll be replaced by Seni Mayulu. Mayulu will come on. So there's the change. Mayulu for Douay. 87th minute now. PSG with the lead. 2-1 they lead in the 87th minute. Barkley in the center of the field. Barkley. Gets the pass up. Now here is Cash. Right hand side now, Cash is in a world of trouble. A stumble here, still a stumble, a foul in the center of the park. Down went Buendia. PSG now make their final change. Kvaratskhelia, the man who scored the first goal, is now coming off, and it's going to be Lucas Beraldo who will come on here. The final change for Unai Emery's team will be the change of Lucas Beraldo, the Brazilian who will come on here. 89th minute is their time for Aston Villa. Can they get a late goal and force a grandstand finish here? Lindelof. Of course, it started to be a grandstand finish because they're chasing the goal. Lindelof. It's blocked. PSG trying to keep it away. The referee is going to blow. The man from Somalia blows his whistle. .509 passes to 243. PSG to Aston Villa. 2-1 on the score sheet where it matters most. The side from Paris on the verge of winning this trophy for the second straight year. Abraham trying to get onto the end of a bouncy ball there, but away. But that wasn't very good clearance by him. Now PSG go back. Now Villa have it back. Now PSG back with it. And some space for Dembele. He's tripped from behind. It's still Ousmane Dembele. And he hit the right at Bizet. Ball left-hand side. Matson to give chase. Now it's Zaire Emery. Very good cross deflection. Not a very good clearance. Buendia had it, but Buendia with a very bad pass. A misplaced pass. Lindelof has it now. Clock about to hit 90. How much stoppage time will there be? We've played the 90. Survey says 5 minutes. 5 minutes for Aston Villa to find an equalizer and send this into a shootout. 5 minutes for PSG to hang on and win this trophy again. Paris fans are quite enjoying this. The longtime PSG fans, when the Qatari company bought their club over a decade and a half ago, took a little bit longer than expected. Yeah, they were winning league titles and they were winning cups, and they were attracting big-name talent. At one point, they had Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe all in the same team. But even that trio couldn't get them over the line. And now, again, not to say that PSG, this is a king of bums by any stretch, but those are not household names. They have taken Europe by storm. They've won the Champions League the last 2 years and are going to be amongst the favorites to win it for a third straight time. PSG is keeping possession now in their own half. Here is Beraldo. Ball being played here on the right-hand side. Abraham for Aston Villa. One last flourish for them, maybe. Matson. Now it is Matson who now gives it to Mings. Mings looking for a cross, couldn't do it. Playing it short here. That's not going to solve anything. We've had 2 of the 5 minutes. You're going to have to either pass or shoot or do something. Here's Buendia. Right-hand side the pass. Now extra setup. Can Cash get there? No. And PSG keep it in, and then pass was off the boot of an Aston Villa player out of play. Matson and PSG will definitely take their sweet time with this goal kick. PSG halfway through stoppage time. They are nearly to another Super Cup triumph. Think here, now here is Buendia. Marquinhos. Mings to Barkley. 94th minute. PSG with it now in the attacking half. Coutinho, they'd like another goal to try and just seal it for sure now. Here is Beraldo. Oh, it's a good ball. Can he get to Hakimi? Not quite. It's a good save by Bizet. Now it's really last chance saloon for Aston Villa now. Villa just... Boy, this is... I mean, you got to kick it upfield. Even if it gets picked up, you got to try something here. Now he got a little bit of space here with Hemmings. Hemmings now to Matson. Space left-hand side. Matson. Is there one last flourish here? Matson. The header is wide. Wide from Emi Buendia. And that was the chance for Aston Villa. That surely was the last chance. And Buendia could not steer it goalwards. Now PSG can kick the ball in the air and be mere seconds away from celebration. They go through here. This is Barkley. Matson, one last chance, maybe an extra last chance. It's Barkley. He goes down. Matson couldn't keep it in. It's away by PSG. We've had the 5 minutes. Surely it's over, although PSG play, it's not over yet. Now it is. The rich get richer. PSG add to their cacophony of trophies. They look formidable and borderline unstoppable yet again. They have found a way to win. Aston Villa gave it a good go. And a big moment for young Brian Cadjo as his goal made history. But that was the middle of the 3 goals. PSG got the first, a lovely finish from Kvaratskhelia, and then a Desiree Doué goal originally ruled out for offside, but then on a VAR check was given. Villa had a couple of chances late, but could not close the deal. They'll try to take lessons learned from this ahead of a season full of action. They're going to be in the Premier League, the Champions League, and both of the domestic cups. And PSG, with their squad depth, it's catch them if you can across all fronts yet again. Full time in Salzburg at the UEFA Super Cup. It's finished Paris Saint-Germain 2 and Aston Villa 1. Special thanks to Matthew Owens and JT for all their behind-the-scenes work. For everyone at YouTube, I'm Seth Eaves. So long for now, and we will talk to you next time.